Cool. All right, what is next? So if there's nothing else on MBA 2, we can move on to the roster.
Oh, sorry, just one more thing. So, Chris, do you think, do you all still feel we should share the email as we had agreed? So do you want to take the cue from my posting the recap and the to-dos, and then you go ahead and share them in?
Yeah, certainly. I can chuck that up on Mighty Networks.
Super. Okay, thank you. So I'll send out the recap after this meeting before going to bed, and then thank you.
Cool. So the roster, we've talked about onboarding more people to help with the roster. Rachel, you said in the last advisory meeting that you took that action to share the list of roster tasks, but you haven't done that yet because the recap hasn't gone out.
No. Also, I was sort of hoping that you were going to come up, and then you said you were super busy and didn't. So I was kind of waiting to hear from you whether there were any new insights that we could actually factor in, because you seem to have said, if I didn't misunderstand, that you had some ideas as to how we could maybe scale up the volunteering part.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, I've just been really tied up with work the last couple of weeks, but this week I am on roster, and yeah, more than happy to do something about that. So I think maybe just doing a general call out to the network, like you say, the advisory committee kind of has specific things that I've been asked to do in relation to the Alumni Association, so perhaps we could put it out wider than just them, and maybe there'll be some really enthusiastic ones that might want to help. But yeah, I might just put a call out to the whole community and be really upfront about kind of what it involves and see if anyone comes forward.
Great.
So I think that would be good. I haven't. Sorry, Richard.
For you. Oh, yes, when I was on roster, I had some, welcome messages that I would follow up on when I would ask someone, what boot camp you were from, and what's your area of focus, some general things that I would put in on a welcome message, and then messages to give the people who would respond. And so I would talk about some of the more interesting circles, like the Hack for Startups. And then lastly, I would mention that if you're interested, we could use some people who we would quickly, train to help us be moderators on the system. So I put it out there that if you're interested, keep that in mind. It's a great way to meet people on the Mighty Network group. So I threw that out there. No one took the bait, but I just want to suggest that if you want to try that, I would certainly, I made notes of who I sent it to or anyone who said thank you, and then I would follow up in the future. So that's one suggestion to try.
I really like that idea. That's a great idea. Kind of get people when they're fresh and hopefully enthusiastic. And actually it makes me think that there was a draft welcome message. I think Rachel put it together right in the beginning, but perhaps I could look at maybe updating that for how far we are in, and adding a little bit about being a moderator if people want to. And then we can all just use the same template when we're welcoming new people on.
Yes, I think it's a very good idea to maybe revise it, because things change over time, and probably the old welcome doesn't ring as exciting as it could be now with the new people in.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing I came across today looking at some resources that I have in a community building community, was something very interesting was said about welcoming people into community, which is a case too. And that is to not meet them and start saying, do this, do that, but to actually try and meet people where they are at. And I think this is quite relevant in our community because we have people who are at different points of enthusiasm, different points of experience, perhaps. And so in a way, this is to say that welcoming people, we obviously need to have a process, so it's good to have a template. Then one of the things we need to probably be looking at is how do we actually listen to each new member and what wants to come from their side. And so I'm wondering, probably just messages are not enough to do that, but I'm just wondering how much we can start from a template and how much we can actually put more listening energy into it. But I'm also aware that this takes more energy, more time, and more creativity than we're probably able to deliver right now. It was just a thought. Just how do you meet people where they are at, rather than meet them with our requirements, and so it's trying to hit the right balance between what we're offering them and what we're asking from them. So that's just kind of
we could ask them, for example, if you're actually in need of anything, because now that I look at how I was approaching it and considering your suggestion now, how to do that, I don't have the answer, except I would say in the future, what I would probably try differently is, beyond just welcoming them, is rather than tell them, oh, you can check out this circle, there's the hack area that might be interesting for you. Maybe starting with questions about, what was your project, and how was the bootcamp experience for you, and do you need some help? Maybe a little more on the question, adding more questions about where they're at to find out if they have any needs, versus in my previous suggestion, it was to actually promote things that we're doing.
Further to what Richard's saying, is it, for me, I wonder whether we want to, I think it would be a nice thing to do, would be able to do this sort of like one-on-one on a Zoom call with each and every one of them, but can we scale it? Can we sustain it? I think it would be the right thing to do if we've got, say, one of us like actually greeting them with a quick Zoom call, and it's like 5, 10, 15 minutes getting to know them, but it's also like filling out a Google form of basically who they are, what they want. Or is it just a Google form of who they are and what they want? Or is that too impersonal? Because I guess my thought on it is, if we do the interview, a one-on-one, that is great. That's optimal, but can we actually support and sustain that? Or is it something as simple and clinical and cold as a Google form to get the information that we want? What's everybody reckon? Or is it somewhere in the middle?
I like that idea. It's one way to, get some information from them, and we could, make that the topic of another call as we think about how to word those questions, and it doesn't have to be a long questionnaire. Those things, those that are very good at doing those things, really think about how to word them. What's the first question, and how long you make it. Don't make it too long. But I think that's a good idea, at least to start with that.
What if, I'm just thinking about the week where I think Tommaso was on roster, and there were like 35 people that joined in 1 week, and how scalable that is, but maybe trying to leverage the rest of the community. We could ask, say, 3 questions, things that we would want to know about them, what challenges they're facing, what help they're looking for from the community, and ask them to post that into the community, so that I'm just thinking, you know, if we get people to answer these questions and then we're getting that information, we really need to be responsible and really do something with that information to make sure we're delivering that value, and we're sort of just adding more to what we need to deliver. But perhaps if we get them to put that out to the community, other people will start responding to that. But by asking them the questions in the first place, we're sort of, to Rachel's point, of kind of meeting them where they're at and offering help.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, maybe think about, I mean, try to make this scalable, but not impersonal. I mean, this is not my knowledge, but maybe we can create a chatbot.
Great idea.
There was someone from my class who actually designed a chatbot. Someone from class 3. He had so much fun doing this, and I think he's actually turned it into his job right now. I could try and
cool. I think that it should be pretty easy. I mean, there are a lot of tools on internet. So I mean, and maybe it could be just the right mix in between. I mean, an interview and some Google form. Maybe you pretend to chat with somebody, but then I mean, maybe you meanwhile you collect information. But I mean, this is not my knowledge. But I mean, maybe I can also have a look. Could be fun.
I think that'd be a terrific idea if someone was working on that and could somehow dovetail with what we're doing. It could make it a little bit more personal. And we're coming out of a technology-oriented boot camp experience. It wouldn't be that inconceivable to run into a chatbot in our group. Make it more personal than a form.
Yeah.
Is Mighty Network, is it an open API that you can develop on?
I don't think so, but I actually have no idea. I could ask that. I could put that question to the Mighty Network group.
There must be there'd be a lot of developers, I imagine, within the alumni community that could probably smash something together in not very long.
Yes.
I have a question for you guys, actually. I don't know if you have this experience that I do, but when I run Mighty Networks on my MacBook Pro, it just starts spinning and heating up. I have to put a fan on it. I don't know why, but it only happens when I put on Mighty Networks and load it. Does that happen to anyone?
Oh dear.
I'm running a MacBook Pro as well, Richard, but mine's like the first gen unibody, so I'm like 2010. So I got an 8-year-old MacBook Pro, but I'm running about 8 gigs of memory. But I'm one of those people that has 6,000 tabs literally open. So I try to choke my laptop to death every day, and it seems to run pretty flawlessly. Yeah.
I probably have a probably unique problem, but I thought to ask that since every time I do go on, it just starts to heat up. But right now, certainly on Zoom right now, I have no problem.
Right. I've just had issues with notifications popping up afterwards when things are already obsolete. Mainly, that's my sort of technical obstacle.
Well, something comes to mind actually from my roster turn. I found the recorded intro that Rachel created very useful, but I did comment, I believe, in the Trello boards, and I don't know if everyone else saw it. And there was this question of how is the Trello board system working? I find it useful, but here I found this a simple workaround that I thought it might make it a little easier for people to get that welcome video, because I think the link that maybe whoever provided, maybe Rachel provided it, it actually sends you to the Mighty Networks post, which then within the post has the link to the video. Okay, and so what I decided was, okay, someone who's new has a lot on their plate and hasn't really gotten enamored with our network yet. To make it easier for them to connect with that intro video, I just went to that Vimeo location and got the Vimeo link, and then I shared that link with everyone that I was trying to approach.
much
So
more.
I don't, did anyone see it in the Trello comment that, oh, here's that link if you want to just go shoot them this instead?
No, I didn't. And I'm just writing a note here to look at the previous week's Trello board before starting off on the roster, because that's really good feedback.
Yeah, we might get better click-through to that intro video.
Absolutely, for sure.
Do you? Sorry, Richard. Do you have a like a standard message that you were sending that you would be able to share? Because it sounds like you did quite a bit of work on it.
I do. I keep it in my notebook or my sticky notes. So when my roster comes up, I just cut and paste, throw the person's name in there, and at times I'll put something a little bit more personal if I am inclined to, because whatever I might know the person or the country they're from, and I'll throw something a little extra because I might have been there. But for the most part, to try and get through it quickly, given my time constraints and back at home, I'll do cut and paste of these messages. But I could share that. And a question with regard to the Trello board is that if any one of us have little snippets like that work, and it might make all of our jobs easier if you have that central repository of there's 3 initial intro messages, and there's 3 good follow-ups, and then there's 3 good ones for something else, and then you can mix it up. I wonder if there's is there a better place than Trello? I think Trello is the place, rather than go to the Mighty Networks location, so that Trello is that dashboard that you can use during your roster. But then again, that while I'm proposing this, I have not gone backward to review my previous roster pairs week to see if they have any suggestions from their experience. So I don't know.
One of the things we did discuss in the past was how do we capitalize on the learnings that each roster member can glean from their experience. And do you remember, Richard, you also asked whether we could have a set of cards that was always the same that we could keep building on? And then we sort of concluded that the way to go would probably be to pull out the insights. And we do have like a roster feedback document, which we could maybe fill with the insights and the takeaways. That way we would just have a container with all the best tips and best practices that we could more easily access, I think, than going into each of the roster weeks and looking through the cards. So maybe one of the things to add in our process is to take out, to capture the takeaways and put them into another space where we could just easily go and share the learnings with one another. And that includes any kind of templates for answers, any sort of any new ideas that come up around. So not just doing a critical overview of what's working, what's not working, but like this is what I did and this is how this worked. So do you need me to post? Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm laughing because I'm reading Richard Bot. Maza wrote in the chat, Richard Bot. That's fun.
It's almost like a wiki that we can all add to.
I think that's a good idea. I think that could work in that what you've described, as I hear you, is that if that wiki, as Harriet has described the idea, as a wiki, we put in, for example, maybe there is a document of learnings, what you found, what doesn't work, does work. But then there's perhaps B, and I don't know if this overcomplicates your idea, but B is, here are the tried and true sections, bits of copy that you can cut and paste to make your job easier. These are for welcomes. These are for talking about how to promote the Hack for Startups, so that you don't have to keep rewriting it, you can take that, cut and paste, do a little tailoring, and toss it to someone. And that might be just a separate document of all of the things that we have found that works. And then maybe could Trello be just rather than put those documents within Trello, Trello could be what roster teammates use to track each other's progress during that roster week, which I find useful when working with Lucy. I don't have to always email her separately. She could see what we're doing. And certainly anyone who's watching our movements, like Harriet can also, make a suggestion to see what we're doing during that week.
Yeah, I think that's a really, really good idea. And, it could just be the last card on the Trello board is, at the end of the week, add your thoughts into the Google Doc about what went well, what didn't, etc. So I'll take that action maybe to look at the Google Doc that you just shared, Rachel, and maybe organise it a little bit so it's easy for people just to quickly add their comments at the end of the week. And then it's good timing because there aren't any new boards set up, so I can add that additional card into my week and then just duplicate the boards so it'll be in each additional one, if that works.
Yeah.
I can help you with creating that one, doc of cut and paste comments, and at least start that. And anyone who comes in and then finds, oh, hey, this block works, you can, either edit what I've put in to start with, or just add it as, one of 3 or 4 sets within these categories that each of us can then go to that, cut and paste, and use it. But I can start that just to get that page going.
That would be great.
Okay.
Thank you, Richard. Wonderful.
Pleasure.
Okay, awesome. Chris, I was just thinking about your suggestion about the Zoom call, because I'm sure everybody really likes that idea, but just worries about scaling it. But I do wonder whether it would be worthwhile to have like a standing monthly call or something that all new joiners could join, if they joined within that month, and then just whoever's on roster, if that happens to fall when they're on roster, they would be responsible for kind of chairing that call, and then maybe there'd be 5 or so people on each time, and that might be a bit more of a personal touch for people to say hi to each other, introduce themselves, answer any questions. What do people think about that?
I think that sounds like a pretty solid idea, actually. It might be that sort of like meeting in the middle type of thing of like, instead of just here's a clinical Google form, here's a face to a name and such. I like the idea.
And we could, I think, pre-set it up as like a recurring event that just reminded people. Maybe I can have a look into that. And then it wouldn't be too hard to maintain. If you're on roster, you just know whether there's one falling in your week and you just need to jump on there and say hi. Yeah, I think that could work.
I think it's a very nice idea. And would we be able to also make it so that it's open, not just for whoever doing the welcome and the new people, but whoever else from the community wants to be there? That make it more jolly.
Yeah, I think so. It could just be an event that reminded, like within the main area, that it was coming up. Anyone who wanted to join and say hi to other community members.
Yeah, great. Yeah. Yeah,
Cool. That's a good idea.
Yeah. Because it should be nice, to see new faces every month, speak new. Then we have to create a bot to tell our background all the time, because we have to say our background every month. But this is cool. We can also play a video with
bots for everything.
An actor who interprets me, but it's fine. It's great.
Just another thing on that note is we could almost guilt, thinking a little bit Machiavellian here, but we could almost guilt Andrew and or Vimala and or Dean into this, probably in that order, starting with Andrew, of getting them involved in that. Like if we've got a standing, open, weekly, fortnightly, monthly get together, we could say, hey, you know, like we'll give you pride of place. If you want to give everybody an update on what's happening from MIT's perspective and keep everyone excited, we'll provide the platform. So it would almost be rude for them not to participate, at least on the rare occasion. Thoughts?
Yeah.
Wow, Chris. I'll light a candle to you if you get that off the ground.
Yeah, I mean,
invite out there. It's a good idea.
Yeah, actually, this is great. But yeah, I mean, of course, I mean, we can invite them to participate. But I mean, I think that once I saw that there is a software that, I mean, you need just a 10 frame of a guy like Obama, and then you type it, and you can make them say whatever you want. I mean, we can also create our own Andrew or our own Bima.
I love it.
We could create him and make him say whatever we want.
Yes. Actually, I mean, it's true. Yeah, I saw this documentary, and it's pretty scary because I mean, Obama can. I mean, you can get this fake news and say there is a nuclear war, and you can. So we can also play with Andrew Bimala and Erdine, and we can.
But do you mean it's actually undistinguishable from a real recording? It looks real?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it would be very evidently an animation and that you would be able to see through it. But you're saying it actually.
No. Actually, I mean, I saw a documentary. I mean, the journalist make the video himself, and then he called with the mother, which is the ultimate test. And the mother didn't recognize it. I mean, didn't see the fake video. Yeah, this is a joke. I mean, because I feel that Andrew will not like the idea. But in case
great way to put a bomb under MBA too straight away.
In case we need it, could be a notch.
Cool. Okay. So yeah, I think let me look into that, and I think we could just have a standard agenda that was like 3 things, just really easy for anyone to pick up and lead that call. The only thing I'm thinking that might be a little bit tricky is the time, like setting it up in a time zone if the person on the roster that week, if it's not in their time zone, but I won't think about that right now. I'll have a look at it. Cool. Okay, so we've got 10 more minutes. And the next thing we were going to talk about was the hack. So yeah, given we've got 10 minutes, let's just be quick with this. So the main thing is that Daniel has said that he won't be able to lead the hack call that he's set up on Thursday because he'll be traveling, and he's asked if anybody might be available to help him out with that. Richard, I think you might have said that you could help.
Yes, I put a little feeler out there for something that I had going on, which is in flux, and I could move it, but I will know by tomorrow if I can do it. But I think it's very possible. I guess I would need just some notes from Dan on where we're at. Maybe I could just review what he has posted so far and just sort of pick it up and roll with it.
Okay,
just keep them going. Yeah, I could just review it, but tomorrow I can certainly confirm it once I get a confirmation. I can move my thing to next week.
How about if you confirm tomorrow, and then I think if Daniel can give you a quick rundown on where things are at and point you in the right direction so you're not having to hunt around, that would be fair. Sure. He has also posted just quite recently that he's not even sure if Quinton is organised enough to have the call, so it sounds like it might be a bit in flux anyway. But,
Sure. I'll follow up with Dan, and then if he gives me a little fill-in, then I'll follow up with Quentin afterwards and see if, in fact, he's going to do it or not, and then update everyone.
Okay, sounds good. And just in case you're not available, is anyone else potentially free as a backup? I'm really sorry. I definitely can't do Thursday. I'll be traveling.
Let me just check.
Unfortunately, it conflicts with Y Combinator timing for me. So I'm unfortunately an out at this stage. It's when we do office hours.
Oh, good.
Is it going to be at this hour on Thursday? If it were to happen, does anyone know?
Grab your paper. I got your pen.
Yes.
Is it actually set up?
Not that I know of, because it was meant to be last Thursday, and then Quinn had to pull out because they were actually doing field work. And
There is a. Sorry.
oh, sorry.
You go, Israel.
There is a recurring event. Let me check the time zone correctly. It's from 4 p.m. to 5:30 Chicago time, Central Chicago time.
Thank you. Oh, okay.
Yep.
So it's an hour and a half. Wow, the format's been completed.
Yeah. It's just to. It's actually just. It was actually just 1 hour every hack session. I think it's just a mistake.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm also thinking that Quinn and his teammates seem to be very proactive in actually leading the thing, because the format's quite different, and I haven't been really following what's happened, but they are very clear on what they need from us. So it's almost as though, well, my feeling is that they just need attendance and not even necessarily someone to lead. I mean, that's my impression. So if that's the case, I could make the time to sit in, and I don't feel like I could lead because I really don't know where they're at. And from the little I've seen, it seems like Quinn knows exactly what they're doing, and how the meetings seem to be planned more by him than by anyone else. So I don't know who else would be able to. So 4 p.m. Chicago, that works out. I'm not sure. Is Chicago time? It's different from both EDT and PST, right? In the middle.
Yeah. Chicago time is 1 hour behind New York.
Okay.
And I think 2 hours ahead of Pacific Coast time.
Okay, thank you.
But I just looked at my notes as I jumped off the camera, and I think I can do 5 o'clock East Coast time, which is 4 o'clock on Chicago time. And the fact that it is, was that, did I pick up correctly that it's an hour, or is it an hour and a half? Israel, what was that?
It's an hour. Just
an hour. Oh,
yeah,
because I was concerned about my evening program being cut into by that time frame, but I could probably just make it happen. If it's 4 to 5 with a little overtime, that would be okay.
Okay, wonderful. So you're okay to follow up with Daniel then and confirm that, Richard?
I'll follow up with Daniel and then check in with Quentin about where they're at and double check on their format. And if they have, something that they've sort of been managing themselves, I think I would imagine there's just probably some need to moderate or keep them on point for the amount of time that we have on the call. It's an hour. That's another value is to make sure that we're watching the clock so that everyone can do what they need to do.
Definitely.
Covered in time.
There were also a couple of people that were keen to observe, so I might just make sure that they know that that's happening. And Rachel, I've just Googled the time. It is 11 p.m. European time.
Thank you. Okay.
No
I have a
worries.
question.
Yes.
Depending on how many people are on the call, will it require a certain level of Zoom membership that I may not have? Is there a limit to what the low level or free Zoom allows you to do?
Yes, so the free Zoom account is limited to 40-minute sessions the moment that there's a third person on the call. So one way around it is to let the session drop and then log back in, because you can do that straight away. I'm not even sure. I think Quinn actually ran some of the meetings on, did he run some of the meetings on Skype rather than Zoom? And I'm not sure whether he was the one to set up the actual space for the meeting. So Israel, were you on the calls? Do you know?
Yes, all the calls we did regarding this hack were on Zoom. I don't know if Queen had a call directly with Daniel beforehand, but all the official meetings, hack meetings were on Zoom.
Okay.
In any case, if necessary, and even if I were not able to sit in for some reason, I could open my Zoom room and just leave it switched on for you to use, Richard, if that's
Okay. Do you have does your account level allow more than 3 people?
Yes,
But is it still 40 minutes and less, or more than 40 minutes?
I have a pro account for up to, I think, 100 people and no time limit.
Oh, wonderful. And I can throw a party with your account.
Yes, you can. And you can do breakout sessions and whatever you like.
Sessions, breakout. We can have I can do a barbecue afterwards on video.
I don't have the team one, so I can't actually make you, sadly, I can't make you a co-host. So I have to open the room and be there, at least technologically speaking. But
Well, no worries. But yes, if you could just initiate it, do what you need to do and let me know how to jump on. Or I guess you would open it, then we just jump on.
Yes, once the room is opened, you can just jump on. I can just leave my icon with the picture and no sound, but I will try to be there.
Okay, we'll just have to try and remember, make a note that we can't actually engage with Rachel because she's not really there.
I'll send a chat box. I'll send one of those spooky surrogate animations.
Yes. Okay, that would be great. If you happen to have a chatbot to represent you, that'd be fantastic. Okay.
Cool. All right, guys. So we've got 1 minute left, and the other things on the agenda were the tape app reunion planning and just a note about how many network members we've got already. So was there anything, did you guys want to address any of those things? I don't think we've got anyone on here that can talk to the reunion, or Tommaso, are you involved in that?
Yes, yeah, we got some calls with Nancy and Lucy and Miguel. Right now we are working on the finalization, the first draft of the agenda, just because Olivia, I think, the lady from Boston, she wants to know some more detail. And actually we are planning to have another call by by next week to kind of finalize it, because she also the lady from Boston, Olivia, she sent a very long mail where she more or less she gave us the time frame to be coherent with the reunion. So for example, like by December 18th, so in a couple of months, we have to provide them an initial list, or also I think sign a contract with the insurance, something very bureaucratic. And then there are all different deadlines, which goes until July, when we have to provide them the speakers, whatever we want to say, blah, blah, blah. So, but if you want, I can also forward to you the email, so maybe you can have a look. And after the next call, it's going to be on 8th, I'm going to share with you whatever we discussed. This is doable.
Okay, that sounds great. And yeah, if there's any input you need or help, just let us know.
Yeah.
Cool. The tape app.
So I know Richard tried to use it and it didn't. Something got stuck.
Yeah, I recorded it, and the problem I found was that I could not see. It would record. I could see it once, but then I could not share it with anyone. In fact, I don't know that you actually saw it. Did you see anything from me, Rachel, in reply to your initial?
No. So as far as I've understood, when you record something, then it sort of goes into your own library, and it's almost like having your own photo gallery on a mobile device. So you go into it and you have to find the dots, the 3 dots next to it, so you can then select from the menu to copy the link. And then once you get the link to it, you can post it anywhere. You can post it in an email, you can post it in Facebook Messenger post, we can put it on Mighty Networks, and some apps like Mighty Networks actually create the thumbnail of the video, so you actually get an image and you can watch it embedded. And I think it's quite fun, but we don't want to create sort of unmanageable new learning curves, so you have the time to sort it out and kind of play with it. And you can, once you record it, you can give it a title, so you can call it Message for Core Team, or Hi to Everybody, or Silly Chat, whatever you want. And it can be, I think, as short as you like, and I think it has a maximum time limit. Maybe is it a minute or 2 minutes, or you can maybe change the settings. But if it would be fun to find a way to make this work for the group, I think, because it's nice to get video messages. And I found it quite amusing.
Did you find that your videos could be as short as 10 seconds or so? Oh, because
yes.
I got a window that said that my recording had to be at least 60 seconds long, and I thought maybe that was a problem.
Oh,
did you see something like that?
That might be a setting that was switched on by mistake. I actually answered your question with like a 3-second video saying this is a short video for me to prove that you can.
All right.
No, it's actually 10 seconds.
Oh, okay. And did you use in your experiments? Did you use it on the mobile app on the phone or the desktop?
With the phone.
Maybe that's what I got to do, because I was doing this on the desktop.
Oh, I'm not sure how it works with the desktop. I think it's meant to be used on mobile because it's.
Okay, that could be the issue. I will try it on mobile, because I think it would be fun if it would work. So I'll give it a try again. Super.
Okay. And anyone else who thinks it might be fun, it could be a new way for us to communicate, and it's hands-free, and we can do it on the go, and it could be fun. So have a play with it if you like.
Yeah, it's not really meant to be anything that's going to be an impediment or make our lives any harder. It's more of, if it makes our lives easier, great. If not, we bin it. The best way it's been described to me is, if you remember push to talk in the pre-smartphone era, it's a bit like push to talk for video. And the cool thing with it is that if you sort of lose your thoughts, you can take your finger off the button, hit pause, and then recollect your thoughts and get straight back into it, and it auto edits for you, so that you can kind of get your thoughts across in a fairly short period of time, is really probably the main thing. So we don't have to go through having like a big long emails or messages. We can knock things out short and sharp if need be within a small group. We'll see how it goes.
Cool.
Sounds good.
All right. That is it, I think, except I'm just going to quickly look at how many members we have as of right now, if I can find.
I was missing you guys.
Me too. It's been a long time.
Oh, the fan on my
I'm going to help you, Harriet, because I've got
8-year-old MacBook is doing the same as yours.
So we've got 373 members currently, and 12 people are ambassadors, meaning they have actively done word of mouth and recruited other people. So just
Very cool.
little feedback.
Very good.
Do we do our screenshot? Is everyone ready?
Yes. Are you going to do it?
You can do it. Or would you like to do it?
Well, yeah, I will do it. You just screenshot it?
Yeah, you just hit screenshot and then paste it somewhere.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll put it with the notes. All right, smile everyone. Cool. Hopefully that worked.
We looked like a picture, like we were so frozen.
You know, it's so much better to see everyone smiling than in the early days. You know, all the long faces, probably mostly because half of us are tired. We're at different time zones. But it looked really depressing, you know, when you visit our notes and then see, ooh, these guys are really having a great time.
Woohoo.
I think it's also we look very serious because it was Tommaso who came up with the idea of saying, we're going to take the picture now, everybody smile, because I used to steal the screenshot without asking anyone. So,
No warning.
so it looked gloomy.
Cool. All right, guys. Well, I have taken notes and I'll share them in the morning. I probably won't write them all up now, but I am on leave at the moment and have tomorrow off work, so I'll definitely
Awesome.
share those.
Wonderful.
And Harriet, I'll see if I can scare up any of those folks you're looking for back here in NZ.
Thank you. That would be awesome. Yeah, my network's surprising. Yeah, I can't drum any up. I've been trying everyone.
I'll see what I can do.
That would be brilliant. Thank you.
Catch you later.
Cool. Bye,
Okay.
guys.
Everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Good day, good night.